NieR Automata is the follow-up to NieR, or NieR Replicant, or NieR Gestalt, whatever you call it, whatever it was called for you. That's what it was. And I needed to have played that before playing this. It's that simple. I tried this a while back, multiple times in fact, and the furthest I'd ever gotten is the first visit to Pascal's village. I picked up a few side quests, but I was like, oh god, I'm running around between the desert and here and all over there and here, I've got to do all this stuff. And it just felt a chore. It felt, it felt just like it was a slog. And it wasn't what I wanted at that time. I wasn't aware of how important side quests were. I knew there was a lot of stuff and you had to get multiple endings, and I just thought, if this is what it's like early on, it's not going to get better, surely. I am stupid for thinking that, but that's what I thought. So then obviously I played through Replicant, got to understand the world of that time and some of the characters and locales that are referenced in Automata, and having that backing made this more of a viable option in so many ways. From the moment I booted this up, this time around, my attitude to it was already different. I knew what I was getting out of a Yoko Taro game. I knew that I was interested in the lore, and I knew that I wanted to get through this. I also knew that Emil would make a comeback, which leads me on to a quick sidebar, because yesterday, if I've done what I said I would, there should be a video on the music channel of my cover of Emil Sacrifice, because that music is beautiful. But having that background of Replicant really made this so much more rewarding. I think that even if I'd gotten through it that first time and not sort of gone, oh, I'm not into it. If I'd have powered through, I don't think would have had the emotional resonance. Some of the callbacks, some of the little things that make sense in context of the two of them together just wouldn't have hit the same. I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I know that. But this does one of those things that I hate about games, and I probably said it in Replicant. It requires multiple runs to really get the bulk of it, the most out of it. You can do side quests as well, which flesh out the story, but the side quests are very much optional. You don't need any, if I recall, for the ending outside of the ones in the Resistance camp, because they're just teaching you how that works. I'd almost just call them deviations to the main plot rather than side quests, to be completely honest. But you can do these side stories, I guess you might say, in some ways, and get more of an understanding of, locations, people, the history of the world, if you want. And if you're playing through to get all the endings you can, I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice not to do them, but you're still not obligated. But the first run is what, the basic one. This is getting you into the game, getting you on side, letting you understand the stakes and some of the world, etc. And at the end of that, after that heartbreaking scene, which then has that moment of hope, which has an interesting line that I did pick up on even first time of, why does it always end this way? I'm paraphrasing. If I've got it word perfect, I'll be very impressed. But that did stick in my brain. But that first run, at the end it says, this is not the end. It is definitely not meant to be the end. You should now play the next run through, which, rather than focusing on 2B, takes you to your partner for most of that run, 9S. And seeing the things through a different lens. You're seeing a lot of the same events. You're participating in a lot of the same events, but it's very slightly different because of his playstyle, but also because there are times during 2B's run where he'll say, oh, I'll just hack this for you, and then that happens and you just fight. This time, you're doing the hacking. So this part of the game has a lot more of that hacking minigame, which if you hate it, you're going to hate the 9S run. But I'm fine with it. I liked the game. Like, one of the things that I remember seeing early on about this was it throws so many different game types at you in some ways. You've got side-scrolling, you've got obviously standard ARPG, you've got shoot-em-ups, which is mainly the hacking missions, that kind of things. And I get it now. Yeah, there's so much here, so many different styles. And obviously the flight unit are very much shoot-em-ups as well. Even when he's been discorporealized, which might not be a real word, but I don't care. But you see some of his experiences during that time, and when he's having to inhabit machines using the hijack mechanic so that he can actually go and meet up with 2B like we saw through her route. It wonderfully ties it together, but it's its own thing. So again, we see the same sad but then hopeful, I guess bittersweet's a good word, ending. And then we're into the new stuff after that. And I guess you'd call it A2's run primarily, but you do switch to 9S a few times. After the intro, you do start with 2B under the effects of the logic virus, and that's quite a harrowing thing to have to go through. It's very difficult to get through because you're feeling that sluggishness. I hate when games do it, but I also love it because I get why it's done. I just think mechanically it just slows everything down, and it can be difficult, I think, for some people. It's just like, can you just... I feel like if you've got any issues with, sort of fine motor control or holding positions, if you will, sort of holding a controller in the forward mode for a while, it can cause fatigue and things like that. I get why it exists, but it can be difficult for some of us with disabilities, I will say. But that said, I still enjoyed that, and I love that throughout this third run, post the other stuff, 9S feels that A2 just killed 2B callously. It was absolutely malicious. She just did it because she's a rogue android. That's what they're told. But it's not quite that. And then the final reveal, I've said some stuff that is kind of giving plot away, but I really don't want to give that final reveal information if you haven't played through it. I'm okay with some of the spoilers because it's stuff that you might have found elsewhere anyway. But, yeah, that reveal of what the actual truth is really hits so well. Once everything has been laid bare, if you found all the information you need to come to the right conclusion, and you've played through all this, and you realise that everything is just not at all what it should be, it really gets you. If you've got anything like a heart and a soul, it will get you. The person who has been very vocal, shall we say, you know who you are, about wanting me to play this, has said that I should, watch the anime, I should get all the supplemental material. There is a concert that will be in London next year that still waiting for the tickets to be released. But I'm into all this. I really want to do more of this supplemental material. I really want to explore this setting, this world a lot more. I know there's a lot more out there that fleshes things out, that adds to stuff. The gap between Replicant and Automata, there's so much that could exist in that world too. And if we can get some stuff to fill more of that out, that'd be fascinating. Maybe, I don't know, Emil's diaries throughout the entire period. Whether it's him or his clones, whatever, it doesn't matter. But just have something of this connective tissue to figure out exactly what happened when the aliens arrived, why humans have gone extinct, what was the creation of Yorha like. All of these things that we've got hints of here, let's flesh that out. There's a couple of things that I want to finish up with, and that is reframing certain things that we thought as well to be true thanks to Replicant, particularly Deviler and Pobler. Because obviously Replicant, they were antagonistic because of how things were progressing, they thought that was the way to fix things. And what happened with those caused a distrust in the line. So the Deviler and Pobler we meet here, they say they're not the same, but there is a bit of material that sounds like they are, and they've just got memory wipe. I'm not sure what the truth is there. I didn't quite get that connection. So if anyone does know for definite, if it's in supplemental material, please let me know. But I'm left with the impression that they are the same ones, repaired and just rebooted to an earlier state before that error in judgment happened. But they are on the run. But there is a moment towards the end before you're attacking the tower where they're at the door and they lunge at you, and I'm like, oh, it's like Replicant, and they run past because they're helping you. Subverting the expectation. I loved it, and I don't like the character look actually this time around. I do like the Replicant look more, but it's fine. I'll take it. But the last thing is the ending. You know the one. Because this is the one that was talked about a lot when the game was first released. The fact that it was saying that to really complete the game properly, you need to delete your save file. And knowing about it, through games journalism, etc., is very different to experiencing it. Because it's once you've definitely got the other endings, you're on this is the proper ending, and you're in this credit sequence and you're shooting the titles and everything like that, but they're throwing things at you. and your ship is getting hit, and eventually you might fail. But then it's like, try again. Oh, it kind of says, oh, do you just want to give up? And it's like, no, you have to keep going. No, I'm going to continue. After doing that a few times, you then have people's ships start helping you. And there's a moment that I realised it. I don't know if it was happening from as soon as all the ships were there, once I'd got the support of other players. But I suddenly realised that the normally solo vocalist bit of music that's playing over the credits now has a choir. All of the people who are now helping you are singing the song as well. Once that moment hit, I was that's it. This game has won me over. It had already kind of done that, but it really cemented it. I loved that little change to it, because this now solidifies the fact that whilst the game does have a lot of bleak elements, it can be seen as very negative, very, from humanity's perspective, it's very, very bleak. We don't exist anymore. But the coming together of all these people, the people willing to sacrifice their existence to help you, that's basically what it is. That's what the deletion of the save file means in context of the game world. These people have given up their existence to help you get to your ending. That is beautiful. This is so well crafted that I feel almost like I'd done myself a disservice. But if I had played this first and not Replicant, I think I said at the start, it's been a while now, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. And I do think that doing it in the order I did is the right way to do it. I would definitely say that you should do it in technically chronological release order, because although the Replicant version I played was the re-release, the game itself was the same content as back before Automata existed. So definitely play them in that order if you haven't. And like I say, yeah, I might have spoiled some stuff, but I really do think that being told about it and experiencing it are different. So thank you very much for letting me talk about this. And until next time, as always, take care.